You drink less water at night. You use the bathroom right before bed. Yet every single night, like clockwork, you're jolted awake at 2 a.m. Sound familiar? What if the real cause has nothing to do with water? What if your own bedtime habits are secretly working against you? I'm about to share 5 hidden mistakes that could be stealing your sleep, and one simple change that transformed a 66-year-old man's nights forever. I want you to meet my friend Frank. He's 66, a retired mechanic from Ohio for 40 years. Frank could fix any engine that rolled into his shop, but he couldn't fix his own sleep. For 8 long years, Frank hadn't slept through a single night. Every night, every single night, at 2:17 a.m., he'd wake up. His feet would hit that cold hardwood floor, down the dark hallway to the bathroom. Frank tried everything. He stopped drinking water after 6. His doctor shrugged and said, "That's just aging." Frank even skipped his blood pressure pills, thinking maybe that was the problem. Nothing worked. But then Frank discovered something that changed everything. It wasn't one magic solution. It was 5 simple mistakes he'd been making. Mistakes that had nothing to do with his age, and everything to do with how his body transitions from day to night. One discovery cut his wake-ups in half in just 3 days. Now, let me ask you something. How many years have you been telling yourself this is just normal aging? How many nights have you stared at that ceiling at 2 a.m., wondering if this is your new reality? You're about to discover it's not. Your body isn't broken. It's just been trying to tell you something important. Let's start with mistake number 5. Mistake #5, the 3-hour liquid myth. Here's something that might surprise you. Even one small glass of water, drunk at the wrong time, can sabotage your entire night. Let me tell you about Linda. She's 70, lives in Florida. Every evening at 8 p.m., Linda settles into her favorite chair with a cup of chamomile tea. "It's just 1 cup," she'd tell her daughter. How could that hurt? But Linda's kidneys were trying to tell her something. Every night at 2:30 a.m., here's what Linda didn't know. When you drink anything, water, tea, even milk, your body needs 1 to 3 hours to process it. Think of it like a slow-moving train. That 8 p.m. cup of tea, it arrives at your bladder right around, you guessed it, 2 a.m. But here's the part that really surprised me. Late evening liquids actually turn off your body's natural sleep protection. There's a hormone called ADH. Think of it as your nighttime guardian. It tells your kidneys, "Hey, we're sleeping now." Hold on to that water until morning. When you drink late, you're essentially flipping off that protective switch. Studies show that over 30% of adults over 60 wake up at least twice each night. And evening liquid intake is often the hidden culprit. Frank calls this closing the kitchen. 3 hours before bedtime, 3 full hours. No more liquids. None. If you go to bed at 10, your last drink should be at 7. I know what you're thinking, but I get thirsty. Here's the thing. Most late-night thirst is habit, not real thirst. Your body will adjust in about a week. If you're someone who sips tea or water while watching evening TV, drop the word guilty in the comments. You're definitely not alone in this habit, but even when Frank followed this rule perfectly, he was still waking up. That's when we discovered something hiding in plain sight, right on his dinner plate. Mistake #4, the hidden water trap in your dinner. That healthy salad you're so proud of eating, it might be the real reason you're staring at the ceiling at 2 a.m. Frank was doing everything right, or so he thought. Every evening, he'd prepare this beautiful salad, crisp cucumber, fresh celery, parsley from his little garden. He felt so healthy, so virtuous. His wife would joke, "Frank's turned into a rabbit." But Frank's kidneys weren't laughing. They were working overtime. Here's why. Certain foods, especially the healthy ones, act like nature's water pills, Cucumber is 95% water, but it also makes your kidneys work harder. Celery contains natural diuretics. Even innocent parsley has been used for centuries to increase urination. When you eat these foods late in the day, you're not just getting water, you're getting their water-making effect too. And if you enjoy wine with dinner or love spicy food, both alcohol and spices irritate your bladder lining. They make it wake you up with even small amounts. Frank made a simple switch. He moved his big salads to lunchtime. For dinner, he focused on cooked vegetables, roasted sweet potatoes, steamed carrots, sautéed zucchini, just as nutritious. But they don't send your kidneys into overdrive at bedtime. If you love evening salads, try this. Stick to leafy greens like spinach, and skip the high-water vegetables after 6 p.m. Which of these dinner foods surprised you the most? Drop it in the comments. I bet cucumber or celery will be popular answers. But even with perfect timing on food and drinks, Frank was still waking up. That's when we discovered a mistake almost everyone makes, right there in the bathroom. Mistake #3, the good enough bathroom trip. If you don't sit, wait, and try again, you're leaving trouble behind that will wake you up in just a few hours. Meet Maria. She's 72, a retired teacher from Texas. Every night before bed, she'd use the bathroom, brush her teeth, head to bed with confidence. "I always empty completely," she'd tell her daughter. "I make sure of it." But the truth was, Maria was leaving behind 10 to 20% of her urine every single night, just enough to fill up again and wake her at 2:30. Here's what most people don't realize. Your bladder is like a balloon. It doesn't empty the same way a sink drains. It needs time, the right posture, and sometimes a second attempt. When we're tired at bedtime, we often stop the moment the stream stops. But your bladder might still have more to give. This might surprise some men watching. Even men should consider sitting down for nighttime trips. When you sit, it relaxes all your muscles. It allows for more complete emptying. Frank learned something called double voiding. It changed his nights forever. Here's how it works. First, use the bathroom normally. Second, wait 60 seconds. Don't rush. Third, lean forward slightly. This changes the angle and pressure. Fourth, try to go again. You might be surprised by what comes out in that second attempt. That little bit of leftover urine could be the difference between sleeping through the night and waking up at 2 a.m. Have you ever heard of double voiding before? If this is brand new to you, just type "new" in the comments. I'm curious how many people know about this technique. But what if the problem isn't just inside your body? What if the very air you're sleeping in is sabotaging everything? Mistake #2, the temperature trap. Too hot or too cold, and your kidneys go into panic mode. They flood your bladder right when you need sleep most. Frank thought he had comfort figured out. Every night, thick fleece pajamas, 2 heavy blankets. "I want to be cozy," he'd tell his wife. Comfortable and warm. But Frank's kidneys didn't see comfort. They saw danger, and they responded by working overtime to cool him down. Your body temperature naturally drops as you prepare for deep sleep. This cooling is crucial for activating that protective hormone we talked about earlier. Your natural "don't wake me up to pee" hormone. When you're too hot, your body can't complete this cooling. No cooling means less deep sleep. Less deep sleep means less protection from wake-ups. But here's the flip side. If you're too cold, your body triggers something called cold water making. Your kidneys start producing more urine to help warm your core. It's a survival mechanism that doesn't care about your sleep. We're talking about small differences here. Just 1 or 2 degrees can dramatically shift your sleep quality. The difference between 68 degrees and 70 degrees. That's how sensitive this system is. Frank made 3 simple changes. First, he set his bedroom to 66 degrees. Cool, but not cold. Second, he switched from fleece to breathable cotton pajamas. Third, instead of 2 heavy blankets, He used 3 lighter layers he could adjust. The key is helping your body cool naturally. You need that cooling for deep sleep, and you need deep sleep for your natural protection to work. What temperature do you keep your bedroom at night? Drop your number in the comments. Let's see how many of us are sleeping too warm. But even with perfect temperature, there was still one invisible force working against Frank every night. Mistake #1. The gravity trap. Gravity might be the real thief stealing your sleep, pulling fluid from places you'd never suspect, delivering it straight to your bladder at 2 a.m. This was Frank's biggest revelation. As a mechanic, he'd spent decades on his feet. But in retirement, he found himself sitting most of the day, reading in his recliner, watching TV on the couch, long conversations at the kitchen table. All day long, fluid was quietly pooling in his legs and feet. His ankles would be puffy by evening. He figured that was just getting older. Then, every night, when Frank lay down flat, all that pooled fluid came rushing back toward his heart and straight through his kidneys, like opening a floodgate at the exact moment he wanted to sleep. During the day, gravity pulls fluid down into your lower body, your legs, feet, ankles. When you lie down at night, gravity shifts. All that fluid gets redistributed. A big portion goes back into your bloodstream, gets filtered by your kidneys, and ends up in your bladder. The timing is cruel. This process peaks about 2 to 4 hours after you lie down, exactly when most people wake up. Here's what amazed Frank. Elevating your legs before bedtime can pre-drain this fluid before it becomes nighttime urine. You're using gravity to work for you instead of against you. Frank developed his evening drainage routine. 1 to 2 hours before bedtime, he elevates his legs above heart level, just lies on the couch with pillows under his calves, or sits in his recliner with the footrest up. This gives his body time to process that fluid while he's still awake, rather than dumping it all on his kidneys in the middle of the night. Research shows that simple leg elevation can reduce nighttime bathroom trips by up to 40% for people who spend most of their day sitting. If you're thinking, I never connected sitting all day to nighttime wake-ups, type mind blown below. This connection surprises almost everyone. Rule of 1. Here's what I want you to understand, and this is important. You are not broken. You're not just getting old, and you're definitely not weak. Your body is incredibly smart. It's been trying to tell you something for months, maybe years. Those 2 a.m. wake-ups, they're not punishment. They're whispers. Your body's saying, help me help you sleep better. But please, and I cannot stress this enough, don't try all 5 solutions tonight. That's a recipe for overwhelm and giving up. Instead, follow what Frank calls the rule of 1. Look back at those 5 mistakes. Which one hit home the most? Which one made you think, oh my goodness, that's exactly what I do. Pick that one. Just one. Maybe it was the 3-hour liquid rule. Maybe it was moving your salad to lunchtime. Maybe it was the double bathroom technique, or adjusting your bedroom temperature, or elevating your legs while watching TV. Choose the one that felt most like your story. Try it for the next 3 nights. Just 3 nights. Don't change anything else. Frank started with temperature because his bedroom was like a sauna. Within 2 nights, he was sleeping an hour longer before waking up. That small success gave him confidence to try leg elevation. Then liquid timing. Each small win built on the last. After 6 weeks of making one change at a time, Frank sleeps through the night 5 out of 7 nights. For someone who hadn't slept through the night in 8 years, this feels like a miracle. Your body wants to help you sleep. Sometimes it just needs a little guidance. Still here, that tells me you're ready for change. After you try your rule of 1 for 3 nights, come back and tell us which technique you chose and what happened. These stories help everyone feel less alone. Frank wants me to tell you something. "I thought I was too old to change," he said. "I thought good sleep was behind me forever. But your age isn't your enemy. Tonight could be the first night of sleeping like you did years ago. Now, if you're a man watching this, there's something else we need to talk about." Frank discovered that even after fixing these 5 mistakes, his progress stalled at about 80%. He was sleeping better, but still not sleeping through the night consistently. That's when his doctor mentioned something Frank had never considered: his prostate. As men age, prostate health becomes a silent factor in nighttime wake-ups. There are 5 specific foods that can dramatically support prostate health and reduce nighttime urination. Foods you probably have in your kitchen right now. Our next video reveals exactly what Frank added to his routine. Stop nighttime peeing now. You must try these 5 foods for prostate health. Sweet dreams, my friend. Choose your one change. And remember, Frank believes in you.